Welcome to this first demonstration video for MarketStar, an economic simulation board game currently in development. The game is played on this star-shaped layout, with between 3 and 5 players. Here you see the pathway for the players' moves, with the 15 commercial properties and the 10 companies that form the share market. The game uses the familiar tools of dice and game cash, used for the main action of the game, which is buying and trading in shares and commercial property, earning profits, dividends and rents. The game was inspired by the 1960s stock market game, as well as by the old favourite Monopoly. Unlike the street properties of Monopoly, the 15 office tower and retail complex properties of MarketStar do not have fixed prices, and there is no building of additions. Each one is always purchased at an initial auction, and after that the player is able to trade on the property as they choose. We'll look into that in more detail a little later on. The 10 companies of the share market are 10 of the biggest companies in Australia. Each one has 1 million shares on issue, and the shares and share price counters are arranged around the board. Dice rolls at the start of the game are used to set the starting prices, and the prices are moved by a range of game events. Players access the share market when they land on a trading floor square. There are 20 of these around the board, so it is one of the most common game events. The other common squares are the bank squares, which allow a player to deal transactions with the bank, and the MarketStar squares, on which a player takes a card from the stack in the middle of the board. Players start the game with a stack of cash, with score sheets to take essential notes during the game, and then by choosing a home city, which is their starting point, and a square which gives certain benefits. So let's look now at how property is dealt with. When a player lands on a property, if it is owned, then they must pay the rent to the owner, but otherwise it triggers the auction. The auction reserve price is set by a dice roll, and then all players are allowed to bid. The property cannot be bought for less than the reserve price. In this example, the player won the auction at $600,000, which is a tidy sum, but the rent is automatically set at 20% of that, so a good income is likely. The player must record the asset purchase on their score sheet. Next we'll take a look at the trading floor. When a player lands on a trading floor square, their first task is to roll dice for the share price movements of the 2 companies in that segment of the board. Rolling a D6 and a D10, the price goes up or down for even or odd on the D6 and moves by the number on the D10. Having made those dice rolls and adjusted the prices, the player is now free to buy or sell shares for any of the 10 companies. We see that this player chose to buy Telstra shares, not the shares immediately alongside him. These ones were at a good price at that time. And again, the asset purchase is recorded on the score sheet. 20 of the squares around the board see the player taking a card, a lot more than the 6 chance and community chest opportunities in that other game. Some of the cards are suggestive of that other game, although none of the properties get specific go-to cards, and there's no go back 3 spaces. The cards which direct payment of taxes are the reason why good records need to be kept on the score sheets, for income and for asset capital gains. Some cards deliver benefits for the whole board, such as bonus share issues or dividends, or the good and bad news cards, which shift the share prices. For those cards, it is the company nearest to the player which gets the effects. Another card in the stack gives the player the same opportunity as landing on a bank square, of which there are only 10 around the layout path. This is where the player has access to the bank as an actual trading bank, dealing in loans or in buying and selling shares from that player. There will be more of that in our next video. So thank you for watching, and look out for the next episode, where we will look into more of the interactive deals between the players, how the players can use the bank, and things like dividends and share buybacks.